and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs. If you have any questions, we've got them covered right here on the show. I'm Sunanda Jayasheelan. Tonight, a very special panel on the occasion of Women's Day. All of this week, we are bringing you conversations centered around what you, the female entrepreneur, are hoping to see by way of changes in the ecosystem. Today, we were talking about making, saving, investing your money right. What should you do if you are a female entrepreneur? To answer that, I'm being joined by two experts. First up, Anisha Singh, founder partner She Capital, founder MyDala, Roopa Venkatakrishnan, director Sapient Wealth. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. Roopa, Anisha, pleasure having the two of you, on this panel, really talking from your personal and professional experience. Two women entrepreneurs, two women watching about what they should be doing with their money, what they should not be doing with their money, and everything in between. First, to the entrepreneur on the panel, Anisha, if you could talk about your own, entrepreneurial journey, what you would want for our viewers to know about you.
I've been in the tech space for over now 18 years. I've done two tech companies and MyDala, which was the internet company I started in 2009. In 2018, after seeing that there wasn't enough funding going to women entrepreneurs, it just seemed like it was time to move to the other side. And the only way to solve the problem in terms of women getting more funding is having more women sitting on this side of the table, which is venture funding and private equity funding. So I started She Capital, which is an early stage fund which invests in women-led tech startups.
Rupa, my question to you, and what are the most important do's when it comes to financial planning that you want to tell our viewers?
Thank you, Sunanda. I think the first important thing as an investment for women is saying that women have to believe saying that they can manage money. Okay, most of the belief comes from there because history shows saying that most of the women give the money to their fathers or brothers or to the spouses to manage money, and at later part of your life you give it to your sons to manage your money. But management of money is very simple, and all of us should come with the principle that all of us can manage money as much as we manage homes. So starting investment can happen at a very, very early stage. It's all about discipline and understanding saying that how much we need to save. Okay. Every one of us know that we need to save, but saving doesn't mean that it is about investment, because you need to save and invest in a way saying that your money grows above inflation to sustain your life and to sustain your dreams. And I think most of us as women or anyone, when we are doing our colleges, we take interest and find out which is the segment that we want to study, what are the different kind of options which are available where we can be successful. We only come to that, but never is a time where we go and ask someone saying that, how do I go and take help to create wealth? Who will assist me and guide me at some point of time how to manage my money?
Okay, so if you could list the top 5 things that a woman should be doing when it comes, let's talk first saving. What should it be?
I think the first thing is every one of us saves, okay, but we have to save prudently, correct? Everybody opens a bank account. I think the first thing in India, which is what I've realized it, when we start working, there is a HR department or the accounts department calls up and says that, you are going to be taxed. So what is that you're going to save for the tax saving? And we will run to ask somebody at home. And the only first thing that we do is buy an insurance product. And why we buy an insurance product, not to understand why we buy an insurance product, we buy it because we want to save taxes. So the first thing is, please understand when it comes to maybe when you also most important ideal thing is saying that ideally your income, your priorities, your spending habits, uh, all has to put into perspective, understanding, saying that what background you're coming, what is your commitment that you're coming. And you have to put all of this into perspective and say that can you save initially 20%? 20% is a must for anybody who starts saving into this country, because India doesn't have
Okay.
social security, we doesn't have medical facilities that the government offers. So obviously
20% of
minimum
your
is
total
20.
take home, you would say. Okay.
Yeah, so minimum is 20, but as per your cash flow, which is there, I think you can increase this to 30, 40, 50% also initial part of your life. That is in your 20s. But if you come to the 30s, then what happens is you're a little more matured, you little more responsibility because you would be getting married. So you will have little more responsibility. So each age wise, you should start sit and analyze and say that how do I go and do the investment planning.
Okay, so then let's talk the top 5 things that an entrepreneur should do when they're fundraising, especially if you're a woman entrepreneur. From your personal experience, Anisha, what would you like to tell our viewers that these are the things they should keep in mind?
Well, the first and foremost is obviously have a valid business model. Now in the startup world, sometimes it's just trendy to raise money for the heck of raising money. That
Okay.
can't be the case, right? Have a great business model. The second is know your if it's especially for women entrepreneurs, know your projections, know your finances, get to the nitty gritty of it. Don't let your bankers handle it. Don't let your co-founder, who's a male, handle it. Know it and know your numbers. The third, obviously, is for some reason women tend to hesitate in terms of showing scale and projection. So when they'll come here, you see a marked difference on how a guy would think of scale and projections. And I used to be doing the same thing, right? Because we tend to be more realistic. But at the same time, an investor wants to see what is your bigger picture and scale. So definitely have that together and understand it and have a tight presentation in general that you can respond to and answer to your own questions. Otherwise, the investor is never going to have faith in it.
Research shows that, and this is open to the board, that only about 50% of Indians, 50% of anyone in the country today is actually saving. How can that be changed? What should we keep in mind? Whether it's your household budget, whether it is you as a salaried professional looking at saving, what needs to be done to really change the way people are approaching their money? Open to both of you, or Rupa, if you want to take this first.
I'll add to what Anisha said, right? Saying
Yeah.
that people have fear of coming and expressing their numbers, especially women, right? As you rightly said, 50% of the women are saving, and saving has been happening for years to year. I think for decades together, our mother and grandmothers also used to save, but their way of saving was they used to buy gold. I think I know my mother used to buy gold from the time I was bought. Every month she used to do these SIP kind of investments in the gold jeweler. So times have changed and dynamics have changed because our aspirations, our lifestyles, our focus has changed. So people who save have to understand saying that if you just simply save in a fixed deposit or any other instrument, what you will earn is only on inflation or less than inflation because it's a safety product and you won't earn.
Yeah.
But if you want to earn above inflation, then the only asset class that it will give you earn about inflation is equities. That is the investment that you can do. And mutual fund is a product where you get that option to add that portfolio and see that your wealth grows. Now, people associate equity to risk. So if you come with a long-term view of 10, 15 years, equities are not at all risky. And that element of equities have to be there into your portfolios to sustain your lifestyle.
Even as you're looking at perhaps 20% of your total income as savings, what are the asset classes that you should be looking at if you're looking at investing, and at what different stages of your life should you be looking at these asset classes? Rupa, to you first.
I will stick to saying that you need to have an asset allocation in the sense no one investment option. It could be real estate, it could be gold, it could be fixed deposit, it could be stock market. Everything is needed in all of our life and that will come at different stages of life, correct? Each of them has its pluses and minuses. Each of them will go through the volatility. Gold goes through volatility, real estate goes through volatility, stock markets go through, fixed deposit, again, as I said, there is an interest rate risk. Everything will go through. It is all about you need to understand saying that your income your priorities, your commitments, and your short term, long term needs. Second,
Sure.
it's all about expectations of returns. But when you look at
Sure.
investments, don't get carried away, be grounded. At the end of it, it's about expectation of returns in every asset class. Don't think that gold is going to double every 2 to 3 years. It takes its own time. It's also cyclical. It's also got phases in the same way as equity. So you have to actually understand, do your pros and cons, short term, long term needs have to be identified, and associate that with the respective products.
I have to take a quick commercial break at this point, ladies, but we're back in just a moment. Any specific sectors where you tend to see more women entrepreneurs are coming to you when they're fundraising? Would you like to see it being more broad based? What can you tell us?
We tend to see a lot more women in the healthcare space, and interestingly, now in the fintech space that are coming to us, with their very innovative startups and businesses. But broadly, it is the healthcare space that tends to outweigh than any other. And by healthcare, I mean health and wellness, just in general, that is driven by technology.
Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight our special for Women's Day. Anisha, I want to talk to you about what sectors you look at when you're looking at investing money as an investor. Any specific sectors where you tend to see more women entrepreneurs are coming to you when they're fundraising? Would you like to see it being more broad based? What can you tell us?
So we only look at sectors that are tech enabled, and by tech enabled, I know now technology touches everything, but really
Yeah.
everything that is purely driven by technology to a great
Okay.
extent, and being thrusted forward by that. We tend to see a lot more women in the healthcare space, and interestingly, now in the fintech space that are coming to us, with their very innovative startups and businesses. But broadly, it is the healthcare space that tends to outweigh than any other. And by healthcare, I mean health and wellness, just in general, that is driven by technology.
Okay. So a follow-up question to that is, in 2021, given
Yeah.
fintech, for instance, one of the sectors that you just mentioned, there's so much of innovation that's taken place in that, largely, thanks to the pandemic. Do you think that how someone is raising funds has changed? Do you feel the sort of influx of money, the flush of money we had seen 2 to 3 years earlier when a lot of VCs were chasing too few businesses? Do you perhaps feel that that is getting corrected? What's your outlook really for 2021?
Yeah, I mean, obviously as an investor, I'm really excited about where we are because, as you very
Yeah.
rightly said, there needed a market correction. We had people coming with unrealistic valuations just when they had started their startup, and as I mentioned earlier, raising funds became trendy. It was not the basis of the business any longer. It was just about raising funding and how much.
Yeah.
Now all that has been corrected. Actually. COVID has corrected that to a great extent. If you don't have a valid business model, and there hasn't been an essential, pivot made during COVID, all that
Sure.
is seeing, it's really being tested. And now investors are actually asking, what is it that your business stands for? So entrepreneurs are obviously being held to a lot more. I think women in general for this have benefited to a great extent. One of the things that I used to hear all the time was, to raise funding, you need to be able to network. There's a boys' club, everything. I think
Yeah.
COVID changed that, right? The way we network with each other. Look at us, we're sitting here across, a panel online. And so for women, I think that's been a boon because suddenly using
Yeah.
Zoom, if it took you 8 meetings or 15 meetings to go meet with a VC, close it, you're now doing about at least 7 of them online and maybe 2 offline, and suddenly every conference is online. So that the whole way the world networks has changed, and interestingly in the favor of women entrepreneurs.
Let me get closing comments from this panel. Research showing that only about 90% of women have come back to the workplace compared to about 98% of men post the pandemic. That being said, Rupa, maybe I can get closing comments from you first. Work from home is opening up perhaps a lot of, more opportunities for women now to contribute also, financially and economically really to their houses. Now, even as there's a new section, if I can call it that, of women perhaps who are now making money. What would you want for them to do through this conversation, through this panel, about how they should be approaching their finances? What is your outlook for 2021?
COVID actually has thrown up work from home culture, which was not there, which was not prevalent in this country. It was prevalent, especially in certain segments like technology or companies which were offering work from home, but it was not there in any other, like it could be finance or bank or any of those. But I think things are changing. Look at the opportunities. I know women who could not come to job because of their responsibilities at home, and they had skill sets, they wanted to do something for themselves. Today that can happen even sitting at home because of the technological advances that are happening, and I'm sure Anisha can add more into it. But look at the huge opportunities. We are only talking about metros. There are women who have such wonderful skills, their willpower to do something, their conviction to do something into their small towns. I think all of that has opened up, and it's a whole paradigm shift which has happened. And I think the work from home culture is going to benefit women more. I think most of them who actually quit their jobs because they have children, today they can start working from home at their own time, at their own convenience, work because they have that potential to share and bring in value to organizations and to businesses. And look at the way so many women entrepreneurs who have actually come out. It could be just sending, it could be cooking, it could be food services that are provided. I think there's a panorama of opportunities. Now, when you have that panorama of opportunities and you make money, it's also essential saying that you start saving for yourself, managing that money rather than giving it to somebody else. I think that's one important thing which all women have to take responsibility.
Anisha, there aren't too many, and every time we speak with women entrepreneurs, a lot of them tell us that it's very difficult to raise funds, particularly if you are pitching to, a male VC or a male angel. That is changing very slowly, though, thanks to people like yourself who are investing into, women-led and women-founded businesses. How can we ensure we're seeing much more of your tribe?
Sunanda, I'm very optimistic about the tech ecosystem. So if you look at it as gender gap in general, we're about 100 years away from our male counterparts, okay? But I think the tech ecosystem is changing that. As Rupa said earlier, suddenly there's so many startups that are coming through where women are doing such cool stuff. So I think all that is definitely morphing. I think what we're not seeing enough of is, as you rightfully said, your tribe. I think women investing in women is still the missing piece of the puzzle, and that needs to really happen. Whether you invest in startups, you start and take take baby steps by investing in stocks of publicly traded companies. Whatever you do, but eventually, you see the ecosystem. There's so many active angels that are males in the tech ecosystem. I do hope that we start seeing a lot of women, and we're actually trying to solve for that at She Capital, where we're actually building out these networks of women investing in women. So women entrepreneurs who are coming back to invest in younger female entrepreneurs and building out that system of women just investing in women, because I think that ecosystem is very important for us to have for more women to come into the workforce as well, more women to actually get their businesses funded, because studies have shown women tend to invest and fund in other women once they're comfortable doing so.
Anisha, Rupa, thanks for your time here on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sunanda. Thank you. Thank you so much.
For those of you watching at home, if you have any questions for any of the experts to join us here on the show, or you want to get in touch with us, our contact details on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.